Welcome aboard, friends. It's another edition of the Refined Savage podcast. Let's get to some business, then we'll get the show started. Viking Coffee out of Bowling Green, Ohio, the best coffee around. Just got my latest package on the subscription plan. Had some Santa's Little Helper in there from Christmas, as well as Old Man Strength. Awesome stuff. Love it. Can't live without it. Viking Coffee. Check them out at vikingcoffeecode.com. Use the code VikingCoffee10 at checkout for 10% off. Cerberus has everything you need if you are a Highland Games athlete, if you are a CrossFit athlete, if you are a strongman competitor, powerlifter, bodybuilder, whatever it is, Cerberus has it for you. Belts, straps, wraps, knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, everything you could possibly want. Not to mention gear, smelling salts, tacky, whatever you need, Cerberus has it. Check them out, cerberus-strength.us. And use the code REFINEDSAVAGE10 at checkout for 10% off. Refined Savage 10. Warrior CBD. CBD oil is not all created equal, and Warrior CBD is the best stuff I've used. I love it. It was created by jiu-jitsu and MMA fighters, and they are in the game, and they understand pain, and they understand anxiety, and having trouble sleeping, and all that good stuff. And Warrior CBD will help all those things. So check out their pain stick. Check out the drops. I love them all. Give them a holler at warriorcbdofficial.com. Use the code WARRIOR20 off at checkout. Serious Steel, the best customer service around, the best gear in town, and the best company. Love those people at Serious Steel. Check them out. If you need anything for your gym, whether it's a CrossFit gym, a home gym, a commercial gym, whatever you need, Serious Steel has it all. Not to mention their awesome stone sleeves and bands. They have the best bands in the industry. Check them out. SeriousSteel.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout. If you are not hunting your own meat, Stay Classy Meats is the way. Small batch farms out of Bozeman, Montana. Humanely raised, humanely processed animals. No hormones. Grass-fed. The whole 9 yards. Everything you want to hear. They're eating fresh Montana grasses, drinking from fresh Montana streams. It is the best stuff on earth. Meat is good, people. Trust me. Give them a holler. StayClassyMeats.com. They will deliver meat right to your home. You don't even have to deal with these old Karens at the grocery store or any of that stuff. Wear a mask, all this nonsense. Just have them deliver it right to your house. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout for 10% off. The Breath Belt, my new favorite piece of equipment, the Breath Belt. If you are having back issues, psoas pain, hip pain, the Breath Belt can help. If you just need an awesome underbelt for some super, super heavy lifting, the Breath Belt will help. It's good for running. Basically anybody who has a set of hips will do well with the Breath Belt. Check it out. My favorite new piece of equipment, thebreathbelt.com. Use the code SAVAGE20, all caps SAVAGE20, and check out for 20% off. And finally, today, the Blind Dog virtual programming. If you need a program for fitness, for kettlebells, for viewing in your apartment without any kind of equipment, if you need a solid program for Highland Games, for track, if you are a coach who needs a program for his high school sporting team and aren't quite sure of what to do with it, check out the Blind Dog virtual programming. Not to mention we have virtual personal training and we have personalized programs for each athlete. Check us out. If you have any questions, you can message me directly here at The Refined Savage on Instagram, or shoot me an email at blinddoggym@gmail.com, and we'll answer any questions you may have. Today on the show, we have Ashley Gass. Ashley is the co-owner of Move in Clearwater, Florida, former gymnast, strength and conditioning coach, super awesome lady. I really enjoyed talking to her. Enjoy this podcast, guys, and we will see you at the end. All right, Ashley, welcome to the show.
Hi, what's up, Mark?
How's life? What's going on down there?
I mean, never a dull moment. We're in Florida, so it's a great state to be in for numerous reasons. Just staying ahead of the game mentally, physically.
Where in Florida are you?
We're in Clearwater.
Oh, really? I spent a lot of time down there.
Okay, yeah. in Tampa or Clearwater?
Clearwater, St. Pete Beach.
Ah.
Yeah. So we have some friends, the Lillas. They've been on the show. Matter of fact, I think they might be looking for a new gym, so I might have to send them your way. They're in Safety Harbor.
Oh, that's super close to us. We've got
Yeah.
clients that come from Safety Harbor several times a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think they're looking. Hopefully, I didn't out them to anybody, but I think they were looking for a new gym. So I might have to send them out your way. But yeah, I love that area. We spent a ton of time down there, and going all the way down to what's it called, Passagrille, down south of St. Pete.
Hmm. Never Passagrow?
Yeah, Passagrille Beach down there.
Oh, news to me. I'm
Yeah,
not sure with it.
yeah. So we spent a lot of time down there. We've got a timeshare in St. Pete Beach, so it's. I love the area. We
Yeah.
were very close to moving there. Matter of fact, a
I
couple
was
years
just
ago.
gonna ask, how come you've not moved?
We've we've thought we're actually looking at Tennessee now. We have family there, but I'm done with Ohio winters, so I got to get out of the cold, and I've done enough of them. But where are you originally from?
Victoria, BC, or Vancouver Island, Canada,
Very
our west
cool.
coast. So away from the Toronto crazy cold winters and very temperate climate, very much like Seattle, Portland,
Yeah,
Oregon. A lot of rain, a lot of gray, a lot of cool weather, and then a few months of glamorous sun and a little bit of exposure to the beach. So I always wanted to live on a beach. I always wanted to live in the tropics.
yeah.
Palm
And
trees and beaches were always on my. Remember making dream boards? Did you ever do
oh
dream?
yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. So beaches were always on dream boards. Anyway, so that's I grew up in Canada. I've been in the States for um about 11 years now. Dual citizen, Canadian and American citizen.
How'd you find Clearwater?
Completely kind of by accident. I had never heard of Clearwater,
Yeah,
and a very very good friend of mine, Tim Sales, lived on Clearwater Beach, and this is now going back 12 years. Um, he said, "Well, why don't you guys consider moving to Clearwater?" I was in Los Angeles for 6 months first, and then relocated, across the country to Clearwater, and I had never heard of it. And I remember we drove across the country, and 7 days later, wound up this beautiful place called Clearwater, and there were lizards running around everywhere,
yeah.
and I thought that was just the coolest thing. So that was forever ago, and just started getting busy right away, building the business. Not at Move. Move was way, 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 way off in the future at that time. But I just built my business as a sole practitioner with my corporation, which is called Brilliant Athlete, and just got busy building a business.
That's cool. Yeah, our other friends that were down there, they were living in Bradenton, I think, and they
Yes,
just moved to BC, so they went the other direction.
really.
Yeah, she was a Canadian citizen from oh gosh, I can't remember where she's from. Just above the Dakotas up there, but I can't remember exactly whereabouts. But yeah, they were down there.
Columbia.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Again,
So
a nice place to be in Canada, with all things in mind right now. The weather's definitely decent, and there's some pretty nutty things going on in Quebec and different parts of Ontario, with the mask policies and the
yeah,
lockdowns and the law enforcement officers getting involved absolutely unnecessarily. So she's in a good province.
what's Florida like right now? Because we get the impression that, as usual, Florida is a lawless swamp where you can get away with pretty much everything down there.
Oh,
So
I love it. Swamp. Isn't there just one swamp, and that's
right,
the
it's just, but
theme?
from us Northerners, that's the way we see. Just it's
Does
all
it?
Everglades and
Does the media call us the swamp people right now? I wouldn't be surprised.
they make it sound like you guys are on the verge of an apocalypse because you're not. There's no restrictions, but it seems like everybody's going there pretty pretty quickly from up here. They're running down.
Yeah, we're doing just fine. The only I stopped following the CDC data months
Yes.
ago. I mean, I was tracking the graphs on a daily basis, and I
Yeah.
was astounded because over time it just became evident that the mortality rate was dropping, 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 dropping.
Yes.
Cases were dropping, dropping, dropping. I stopped tracking it because I realized what a dangerous slide we were all being dragged down. So how is everybody doing here? Fine.
Yeah.
There might be, I don't even pay attention. I actually don't even see anything pop up about, COVID anymore. I don't know if the cases are up, and if they are, and
Right.
so subjectively, we're doing great. Everyone's fine. I'm sure that there's people getting sick from the flu and all sorts of other stuff as per normal, but um,
Yeah. Well, it seems to be that in 2021, the flu has somehow just disappeared. Nobody has the flu anymore.
right.
If you get sick, you automatically have COVID.
Yeah, it's what it's all about. Yeah. If you're diabetic, we don't really hear about it. It's not out floating around. If you have cardiovascular disease, don't know. If you're depressed and you, God forbid, commit suicide, we don't hear about that much either,
Yeah.
unless you
Right.
dig for the stats. So, um, thankfully, we're all doing well. And
Were you guys shut down
no, I didn't go with the shutdown plan. Oh, we are frozen, Mark.
for a little while though?
Okay,
Did I
sorry.
freeze on you?
Yeah, we had about a 20
No
second.
problem.
No, it's fine. I mean, really, really from the beginning, this just didn't pass the smell test at all. So when this first started, I was like, okay, if it becomes evident that anyone's being harmed or is potentially in harm or causing harm to others, or that we're doing anything dangerous by having a few people at a time in here, we'll close and we'll just go 100% online. But
Right.
that time never arrived. And as the lockdowns became more intense around the country, that time still never arrived. And the data that we were getting access to, just most of it was false.
Yeah.
So what we did is, I mean, we pivoted. So we went, all right, we understand that people might not want to come in. That's fine. So if you don't, all of our classes are live stream,
Mm-hmm.
and recorded. And we were already in the online space. So I had built the online space out with help in January, ironically, just
Yeah.
before it all hit. So we had online clients from around the country, and we had several European clients at that time as well. And then we also gave members the option to access their training programs online. So we did everything. We went classes live streamed, classes recorded to be accessed at a later time. We went with private training clients could do Zoom calls with us and do their training with us that way. That worked very well. And we did prefobbed training programs, mobility, strength work. We did everything to protect ourselves from the possibility that this really was this big boogeyman, and we could actually justify not allowing anybody to come in. But that time never arose.
Yeah. You know what though? It's you look at it from a positive light. I think we had built out our online presence as well, and we're putting programs out and that's kind of stuff. And I think that the gyms that are able to pivot, just like any business, got through this just fine.
Yeah.
If this business is your passion and you're living in 2020, 2021, you better have some kind of online presence. It just has to happen. And
Yeah.
hopefully the gyms that did survive without that online presence will now put something forth and get something out there for their people. And it just takes a little bit of extra work and a lot of looking ahead, little forward vision. And
Yes.
it's I think it you're always going to get that cream rising to the top, right? So, the gyms that didn't build good communities, didn't have online presence, didn't have, ways to pay online or ways to collect money online, they kind of went out. And I think for a lot of them, especially like the functional fitness places, I think CrossFit was propping a lot of them up. just the fact that it said CrossFit on their banners, and then when the whole thing with Glassman fell apart,
I
they
know.
didn't know what to do with it.
Right. Right. Well, no, you're right. You've got to be able to pivot and think ahead. And then we have great coaches. I mean, Jason, Blythe, Brenna at that time, uh, they didn't, none of them were scared. They didn't back off. They weren't saying, hey, I'm too scared to come in.
Yeah,
Everybody really stuck together. We stayed in really close contact just to make sure we were doing the right thing. And then obviously we had members that were willing to continue along with what we were doing, and they continued to support us and pay their memberships and pay for their
yeah,
private training. And without everybody sticking together, including members being willing to come along the ride with us, we wouldn't have survived. So
sure,
it was an all out, all hands on deck effort.
yeah,
And I feel that we are extremely lucky to have done well through essentially what turned out to be most of the year.
yeah, yeah. We were the same way. Our our members, I think, down to the last person, paid all the way through, even though they didn't have to. Sure as heck wouldn't. I mean, they all have bills of their own. I sure as heck would have understood, but they paid all the way through, and we didn't have.
Awesome.
I mean, obviously, you lose business that isn't coming in your door, the new
Yes.
business,
Yeah, exactly.
selling T-shirts or water or whatever. But that was great, and I think it's a testament to gyms like ours and gyms like yours, and you build these communities of awesome people who just they're going to take care of you the way you take care of them.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very,
Well,
very cool.
I mean, I'm glad you made it through. So here we go.
Yeah, you too.
Now
We
we
can
have,
talk about this.
yeah, yeah. Now we have another interesting year ahead. We'll see, right?
Yeah, well, I have a hard time believing that now that Biden is taking power, I can. My theory is that we're going to have 100 days of masks, and then he's going to declare victory. We've beat this. Let's open the
Right.
economy back up. No one wants to be the president who oversees a failing economy, and I don't think that they're going to let that happen. They'll declare victory, and we'll be, the vaccines will be out, and people will be getting vaccinated, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, my thing is I don't I can see them attaching uh, air travel or getting your driver's license or to getting the vaccine, which is scary. I mean, the government is finding a way to force you to comply and put something in your body that you're not really sure what it does.
Yeah, I know. Of course, all of that's speculation at this point, so I'm not getting too emotionally involved in that. I haven't seen anything actually come to fruition to
Yeah,
suggest that. It's kind of like a lot of the other stuff that's going on right now. A lot of it's relatively intelligent speculation. So I go, okay, let's just see where this goes, and none of us know. So
yeah, take it one play at a time, right? My wife's getting her second vaccine today, so
okay,
yeah, we'll see what happens. She's a nurse, so she didn't have
okay,
much choice in the matter. But it's the scarcity of truth right now is the hardest part of this whole thing. Who's telling a lie? Who's got the real information? And it goes back to listening to the people you trusted before all this happened and getting their opinions on it. Because I certainly don't trust government health care and
right.
government health officials. It's really difficult. What's what you do you have family still up in Canada?
Yes.
What are they saying? What's going on up there?
Well, we're all on the same page on some topics and then not on others.
Sure.
So, mom, dad, brother. I've a family in Arizona as well. So my aunt and uncle are on the side of very very reluctant, to say the least, about anything to do with the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
That's my position to this date. I haven't seen anything on the mechanism of action or actual ingredient list.
Yeah.
Um, and as we all know as well, viruses evolve. So as this strain evolves, which maybe it's done two or three times over,
Yeah.
then what? And so My folks are they're conservative, and they're just kind of waiting this out.
Sure.
They're doing their thing to be responsible. When they go out in public, they go into stores and they wear masks, but you don't have much choice. You can't really
Yeah.
just walk around in Canada and go into stores without a mask.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure anyone would choose to do that.
Right.
Canadians are fairly um, they're law-abiding citizens,
Yeah.
even if it's not law, and I don't think that it is. It's just a strong suggestion, and I don't.
Sure.
So that's their stance. They just they're living their lives,
Yeah.
and kind of like all of us, looking at both sides and really trying to find their grounding in what's true to them and what makes sense to them.
Yeah.
But they're fairly conservative about all of it. Conservative about all of it.
Yeah. What? So, first of all, how long has the gym been open now?
Move specifically, we're going into our entering into our third year.
You have a
Uh,
huge following for it.
yeah.
It's amazing to me, and the stuff you do is so, and you're a little bit ahead of the curve too, because the functional movement stuff and the natural movement stuff is just like I told you before we started this. I'm really getting into it, and I'm really interested in it. So that's kind of when I started following you.
Awesome. Yes. And all of that, if I just rewind back several years, my background's in exercise physiology, strength and conditioning. So we have kind of a similar background, Mark, where I think our training was born out of a blend between bodybuilding methodologies, powerlifting,
Yeah.
a little bit of weightlifting sprinkled into long term training. So
Yeah.
we were athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what we were missing out on was structured mobility. Maybe I stretched every night, but nothing like,
Sure.
And then when Rob Wolf was running his podcast, and I'm sorry, I don't know if Rob's actually still doing the Paleo Solution podcast. I'd have to check. I think that he is. When he interviewed Coach Christopher Summer, probably 5 years, maybe 6 years ago now, that was when I got switched on to gymnastic strength training and gymnastic bodies. I'd never heard of gymnastic strength training before. It was a completely new term, and
Yeah.
that was just it was just a really good opportunity to learn that dimension that gymnastics athletes or gymnasts are exposed to, which is integrating mobility into strength work, and particularly just basic stuff like flexion of the spine and
Yeah.
deep extension and external rotation of the shoulders, and the stuff that we kind of did in rotator cuff and scapulothoracic rehab programs. But there was never any attention on shoulder dislocates or spinal
Mm-hmm.
flexion. I mean, as you know, all that was even contraindicated. Like the shoulder's
Yeah.
unstable. Why would you do dislocates? And I was like, okay, why would we do dislocates? If the shoulder's unstable, why would we do that movement? And it just was a lack of that depth of knowledge at that time to go, well, it makes total sense to do it because we can and we should. So I think that's really what we were all missing. And that was the birth of Move, really was. I had been applying gymnastics strength training and gymnastics body material as an affiliate for several years, and then we branched off and needed the space. So my business partner and I did a build out on this facility, and here we are. The guys, Jason, Kyler, and now Jesse Lapiana, Jason's brother, they've really pioneered the soft acrobatics and turning movement into flips and teaching people eventually how to do cartwheels again. And that's exciting for adults. They kind of go, oh wow, like I haven't done this stuff since I was 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's all credit for the soft acrobatic side goes to the guys. I don't take a lot of time to do that in my training because I'm very focused, in and out, do the work, stretch later. I'm not getting into soft acrobatics formally yet. But that's all them. So they've done a tremendous job in that department.
Yeah. We've been integrating cartwheels is a good example of that. We've been integrating cartwheels into our warm-ups and lots of crawling,
Yes.
Spider-Man crawling, bear crawling, crab walking, just anything to get these people moving. And a lot of it is part of me being envious that I'm so broken and beat up from being on the circuit for so many years that I can't do this. So when I look at a guy who is an accountant who isn't necessarily beaten or broken. He just is a little inflexible from lack of movement. Let's move him. Let's get him going. Let's get him doing this stuff. And amazingly, I haven't gotten too much pushback from it. So I really am becoming a true believer. I wish I could do more gymnastics type stuff in my own training, but I do what I can do.
What happens when you go to do, say, crawling movement or like crab walks, tabletops with movement? We call those crabs. What happens when you go to do that stuff? Does your body just not go there, or?
Well, so I've just kind of learned to adjust to not having the best range of motion anymore, because it was always through, you're on the circuit, you're lifting. Oh, I tweaked my shoulder. Well, I'll just work through it, and it gets less and less. But I've got a bad hip from an old throwing injury, so I love Spider-Man crawls, but probably every 10th or 11th one I do, I'll get something going in my hip or low back, which
Right.
but it's all through the movement, because I can deadlift 1,000,000 pounds, but make me crawl on the floor, and my body's not used to that. So it's a lot of me trying to reintegrate this stuff without my normal balls to the wall mentality, where I'm, 3 Spider-Man walks across the gym are good. I should probably do 40. That's kind of where I'm at.
Right. Let's see if we can really get this hip going.
Yeah. But I love it. I think it's a missing part of fitness training and strength training for sure.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to see you guys doing it.
Thank you so much. We're definitely going to be building on it. And as you know, we're in the online space more. We've got some online programs that we've just launched that they're not coached every week. They're
Right.
coach yourself every week. So we'll see how those go, and then just build on that platform as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about the book, because you spent this year coming out with a book when most people were cowering in their homes.
No, what book are you talking about?
The stretch and go to sleep. Or stretch the fuck up and go to sleep.
Oh my gosh, that's not my book. That is
okay.
It's a children's book. I was referencing that because Adam Mansbach wrote that book, but Samuel L. Jackson narrated it. He did a great job, and that's on YouTube. I think a few celebrities have actually taken the turns narrating that book. A friend of mine, about a decade ago, he's like, Ashley, go the fuck to sleep. I was like, okay. And he goes, no, it's a kid's book. So I grabbed a copy, and it's the cutest kids book ever. And when I was coming, I wanted to have my program be appropriate for those that were really in need of just basic stretching. And most adults that I am friends with don't sleep very well. They don't have good sleep habits. Some of them are insomniacs, and they always say to me, I'm just so tight. It's because I'm getting old. I'm like, okay. I love sleep and I love stretching. I do both, sleep and stretch. Obviously, sleep every night and stretch a bit every night before going to bed. So let's just put a program together that resembles that, the stuff that I do, and call it. Say it was inspired by the book Stretch the Fuck, or Go the Fuck to Sleep. So I called the program Stretch the Fuck to Sleep, and the feedback on it's been really good. It helps the folks that are doing it right now, or just they're like actually this makes a difference in sleep. It's not, the stretches aren't complicated. They're effective, but they're very simple. And I felt it was a bit risque to call the program that, but I felt if I prefaced it with, hey, here's the book that inspired it, I can at least put the responsibility on the author of the book as well, not just myself.
Yeah, I'd seen the book. Matter of fact, I think my son had it. We had it for my son years ago when someone gave it to us as a gift, but I thought that your program was actually a book about it. So it's an online program though.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'll have to clarify that. Yeah, it's an online program. So we use it's all hosted within our app, and it's a one-time purchase. So it's the full retail price on it is right about $147, and then I'm doing $50 off on it for the month of January.
Nice.
And it's a one-time purchase, so people buy it once, you'll have access to it forever, and It's one of those programs that just doesn't, you're never going to, well, not never, but you're probably not going to master every stretch in there.
Sure.
It's one of those programs where you go, all right, I'll probably be working on these stretches for at least the next 6 months to year of my life, if not longer. And I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
plan on progressing it as well.
Yeah. I'm a big proponent in that. And that's something I found in the last year or so is, it was always one of those things where stretching was, well, I'd get in a kick and I would do it for a month and then I wouldn't do it for a month. And, um, but ever since I've started doing it right before bed, um, it's really been beneficial. I sleep better. I wake up feeling
Awesome.
better. So I think it'd be great for people to check out and because people need a set program that you want those rules and guidelines, people need that. So
Yeah.
we will link it up so people can check it out and we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
We'll figure something out. We'll connect.
Yeah.
I'll get you connected into it. And then thank you. Yeah.
What's your background? What was your background before you got into strength training?
Um, I, well, professionally or like as an athlete or a
As
little.
an athlete, yeah.
Okay. I was a gymnast. So mom and dad threw my brother and I in gymnastics when we were kids. So I
Smart.
started right around age 3. And this was when, so I grew up kind of between Nelson, BC, which is a very, very small city, and Boston. My dad went to grad school. We had to leave Canada for a few years so he could go to Boston University. So we were I spent time as a gymnast in Canada and then did a bunch when I was in Boston. So I was a gymnast for the first 11, 12 years of my life. And then from there was in a public school where athletics was everything. So competitive track, soccer on the island. We had a rep team, the island's first rep team. I was a part of that, and then played soccer at University of Victoria, UVic, for I think 3 years. And I kind of discovered the gym in high school. So our high school was very athletically driven. So my brother and we were those two kids that just did really well in sport, and I was athlete of the year a couple of times, and blah 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 blah. Discovered the gym, and the gym was just a great outlet because it wasn't dependent on a team. So it was myself and about four guys, and we started in grade 8 or grade 9. We had a PE teacher that was willing to meet us at 6 a.m. at the gym 3 days a week, and we just started bench pressing.
Where everyone starts.
We just I was like, okay, let's start. Let's start bench pressing, and we did, and that's the rest is history.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
so
it's such an important thing for parents with young kids. My son, um, that was really his first athletics was he wasn't in like a competition gymnastics, but I found a local place that had little kids in there, and 3 or 4 years old, I put him in there and
yeah,
he's walking across balance beams and learning to stand on his hands. And,
yeah,
it made it so much better and so much easier, I think, for him to pick up every other athletic pursuit in his life, just because he had
yeah.
that foundation.
Yes, yep,
You know?
yeah. The kinesthetic awareness is built at a young age. So in gymnastics, you kind of cover all the bases. How old is your son now?
He is 15.
Very cool. Is he still an athlete?
Yeah, he's very successful. He started as a freshman for his local football team, um, and he ended up going to states in track and field as a freshman in indoors before they canceled our outdoor season. But he went to the state championships in indoor track and
Wow.
very good in the weight room, much better in the weight room than I am, as far as movement patterns
Right.
um, and even throwing. He's a lot more technical and and moves a lot better than I ever did. And I gotta think a lot of that came from gymnastics and balance and
Yeah, it would have to, because those male gymnasts are so strong and they're
yeah,
so mobile. You can't be a successful male gymnast and just be strong. It
right,
doesn't exist.
yeah. It's great. I'm glad I did it. I hope more parents will do it, and I think it's the best thing you can do. It's kind of hard, dads will give you shit when you're putting your 4-year-old boy in gymnastics, but who cares?
Right. Yeah. Probably less now, but I definitely
Right.
see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, they want you to put them in t-ball and everything like that, and you're not going to learn too much from t-ball.
Nope. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's going on for this year? What's the plans for this year? What are you going to do with the gym, and what's on the horizon?
Well, we're going to keep expanding our membership here. So the folks that come to train with us are generally late 20s, kind of mid 20s and up.
Hmm.
And they usually are kind of going, well, just going to the gym and lifting weights isn't what I want to do exclusively anymore. And usually folks are looking for a way to get better with their body, and they're looking for adult gymnastics. They're looking for that blend of movement and strength training. So they find us that way. So it's definitely to expand our reach into the local community. And then with our online work is to continue to expand our work with online clients, get better at that, get our programs really up and running so that those are super super smooth and accessible, or they're already accessible, but I guess accessed by folks all around the world. We also have a nutrition program that we launched. I brought one of our former members, David Martino, he's just an exceptional personality, and he does really well in the nutrition space in his coaching work. So I brought him into our mix so that he could help me with the nutrition side of it. So it's just to continue to do, like, put out great content, do great work, help a lot of people, and have it so that our coaches are just so that, Jason's kicking butt, Blythe's doing really really well, Jesse's doing great. I want everyone to have just a really, really, really beautiful career where
Yeah.
they do well with folks in person and they do well in the online space. And we just build a brand that is known for just high quality.
Yeah, and that's when I look at your stuff, it really is. It's you can tell that you guys have a passion for what you do.
Thank you.
It comes out in when you're talking in your videos, or there's a lot of passion there, and I think that that's the most important thing as a business owner, whether you're teaching people how to do muscle ups or making pizza. If you can get that passion and relay it to your customers, I think you're going to have a business for life. And it's super cool to see what you guys are doing, and it's totally your own thing. I mean, I don't see too many people out there doing anything like what you're doing, and it's really cool to see. I'm a big fan. I follow it all the time, and just love seeing the stuff you guys put out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime. And well, where can people find you? Where can people get your stuff? What do they need to do to get a hold of you?
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook are definitely the sort of the top platforms. So the Move Instagram is move_training calisthenics. If you type in Move, you'll find our logo pretty quick. We pop up reasonably, sort of reasonably early in the IG feed, and then my personal one is Ashley R Gas, and that's a really a mix of my entire life,
Yeah.
including training, shooting, viewpoints on politics, viewpoints on the last year and everything the planet's been through. So if
I
you're
saw you got the Constitution workbook. That was pretty cool.
Bill of Rights,
Yeah, Bill of Rights workbook. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's a big one. A friend of mine wrote that, and he also writes under the pen name Mike Matthews. Okay. So, yeah, I love studying what is, and I think our Constitution it's a very, very important document, and I
Yeah.
think it's been forgotten about, and it's certainly been trampled on as of late. So part of my being in America, I really wanted to understand more about the Bill of Rights and how our Constitution worked, and obviously it's very complicated, but I have a lot of respect for it. So, just a heads up that Move is just strictly our clients and what we do, and mine is a real blend of all of that stuff. So have fun.
Yeah.
Facebook is Move Gymnastics Inspired Strength Training, and we'll sort of. I think we should sort of coordinate on maybe doing some cross promotions on products, training products, online stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fantastic. Um, it's nice to see. I've had in the last month, I've had two Canadians on who are now U.S. citizens or have dual citizenship, and you both have very similar outlooks on the country, how important the Constitution is. That
Yeah.
the most dangerous thing going on in the country right now is not a virus; it's the reaction to the virus.
Yeah.
And maybe it takes someone who wasn't born here to let the rest of us know how important this is.
It's just there's folks that were born and raised in the US that are completely understanding all of this, and then there's folks that weren't, that do. There's folks that were born and raised in the US that aren't paying any attention to it.
Yeah.
I think that's really the most dangerous part, is when I've had people say, well, I'm an essential business, or I was essential. And I just go, well, I think that that mindset's changing now to realize we're not all in this together. Number one,
No,
we're
no,
not, but the economy is in this together, because if you start to separate out and deem some essential and on and others not, well, then what happens to the supply chains?
sure.
Then that starts to get shut down. If restaurants aren't open and they're somehow considered non-essential, then what happens to the food supply chain? It completely falls apart.
Hmm.
So there's no such thing. Everybody's essential. All businesses have a purpose, and the purpose is to keep the economy moving and to keep people productive. Production is the basis for morale. So you start to shut people down and inhibit their ability to thrive and prosper, you will have counties, cities, states, and an entire country in an apathetic, hopeless state.
Yeah,
So guess what? Everybody's essential, and just because you weren't shut down, or you weren't attempted to be shut down, doesn't mean that you're safe. It doesn't mean that you're going to be fine long term, because this is an interweb.
yeah,
So
yeah,
um, I think that those that take the stance of, well, I'm essential and I'm going to be fine, or I'm in healthcare, whatever. Look how many nurses and medical professionals were laid off because hospitals
sure.
weren't empty.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no, what's missing in this country is that communities aren't standing together.
Hmm.
People aren't tribing up and saying, guess what? Not here. As a
Yeah, they're
community,
tribing up, but they're tribing up in the wrong way. They're tribing up with their favorite sports team or their favorite political party. When people ask me now, you know,
yep,
what political party I support, I say freedom,
yeah,
because I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, that grab for power is very real and it's
yep,
out there. And it's the most important asset we have in this country. And people need to pay attention about it. It's not about, oh, well, my side's in power, we can do this, because eventually your side isn't in power anymore, and all that shit gets brought back to you.
yep.
It's
And
super dangerous.
we're all people, and at the end of the day, we have to protect one another. The government's not going to do it. The
Yeah.
government will come after folks. Less so if we're tribed up and we are protecting one another.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I
So,
love it.
yeah, I wish we could all be in the same place. Just,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, that's
Less
what.
Kardashians, more paying attention to your government and what they're doing to you.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
All
But
right. Well, I want to thank you for doing this, and we should do it again sometime. And next time down in Clearwater, I'm coming down and learning some gymnastics.
yeah, please. You'd love the guys. Absolutely. And
Awesome.
I'll keep in touch with you on IG. There's a couple things I think we could connect with, but thank you so
Yeah,
much for having me. I'm very, very glad you guys did well through
me too.
2020. What's your vision for 2021?
You know, I tell my people that I didn't find my voice in the fitness realm because I was a thrower and I was, I was I had mentors who I kind of followed their programming and thought, well, this is the best way to do this and this is the best way to do it. And it wasn't until about maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I actually found my own my own voice within the arena. And I've been doing this since '87.
Wow.
Working out and training people since '96, and it's just now that the people in my gym are doing my programming that comes out of my head, and it's so exciting for me to put it out there every week and see people go to work on it. So just more of that, more stretching, more movement, more slinging kettlebells, more forcing people to meditate, and
Yeah.
the
Right.
whole 9 yards.
Calm down. Yeah, go to
Yep, I
sleep.
do. I kidnap them. The end of the workout, I make them all sit down, and we shut the lights out. And they 10 minutes of meditation, whether they like it or not. So
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
they're
Yeah.
not going to do it on their own, most of them. So I force them to.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. I get it. I get it. Well, Mark, you're awesome. Thank you for
You too.
connecting. I'll stay in close touch.
Absolutely. Great talking to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, man.
All right. See ya.
Bye.